Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Stories of Us. I am your host, Ree Pinreddy. Today I'm here with a friend of mine who was one of the first people I interviewed at the start of this project, Irawadee Thawornbut. Irawadee is the founder of Sandee for Good, an online marketplace for donors to order and pay for goods to be delivered to nonprofits. Thank you so much for being here, Irawadee.
Thank you, Shri. It's an honor to be here.
So talk to me about the disconnect between donors and nonprofits.
I think this is happening all around the world, but especially in Thailand, where we have the big city, and then we have NGOs working in rural areas, in the hill tribes. We have rural areas in the borders of Thailand, where it's very hard to go help them and give them resources. So this is where the disparity between resources happens. So I saw that people in the city really want to help, but how can we get them to know where to help and find places very far from where they are that they can give resources to? So that's why it's part of why I started Sandee for Good.
And what does the organization's name mean, Sandee?
So Sandee came from a Greek name meaning protector of mankind. And Sandee in Thai also means doing something for the good of others as well.
Mm-hmm. I see. So I guess what moment kind of made you realize your organization was actually making an impact in solving this disparity between donors and nonprofits?
So I was in contact with this organization down in the south, the very, very south of Thailand. And a bit of context is that the three provinces in the south of Thailand have an ongoing conflict between two religions, and there's been a lot of violence going on between them, between the radical group and the government. And the people stuck in between that violence is children who have no involvement in this conflict, but their parents are, some parents are innocent people, and they're killed through these terrorist events and through the violence. So what is left is that over 10,000 orphans are left there with no parents because they're caught in the middle of the violence. And I work with an organization, Sandee for Good works with an organization that aims to help these children have a better education while also living their everyday lives with resources like food, so they can just live by another day. So I work with them, and this every time Sandee for Good sends down resources from donors from all over Thailand, even sometimes out of Thailand as well. Every time we send something down, the organization would tell us the people that they gave these resources to. And there was one time when the organization told us that there's two girls, her mom and dad were killed by the violence, and because they're unregistered, so her mom wasn't the first wife, her mom was the second wife, so they did not get any support from the government at all. And so they had to live day by day hoping to get some support from the organization. But then because that organization is so far away from the city, us city people don't even know that they exist and that they need help. So it went on to the point where there were days when that organization could not help those girls and they were starving. And so through Sandee for Good, having donors from all over Thailand and always donating stuff through like a centralized platform allows them to have like a a steady stream of resources that go down to help these the two girls. And so they talked to me about that and how like it really like sending down food helps them have another day of life. And like it's just something that makes me want to keep going every day and makes me want to continue Sandee for good, because I know that these two girls are only two in like so many, and not even only in Thailand, in all over the world that are experiencing these situations.
Right, that's right. And talk to me a little bit more about your centralized platform. So as a donor, from a donor perspective, how would you approach Sandee for Good, and how does it connect you to nonprofits?
So if you're a donor, you can go on Sandee for Good, and you will see a list, you will see a page with a list of nonprofits and nonprofit needs. And by clicking on them, you can immediately select goods. It's like an online marketplace. So for example, you go on Amazon, but this is just for donating. So you go on there, you select things that you want to donate, and all these things will be like chosen by us through like talking to the NGOs about what they actually need. So you won't have to worry about like, will they actually use it? Because everything is communicated from the NGO. So you can choose the goods, and you order it, you pay for it, and then we will be the ones delivering those things to the NGOs that you want to help.
I see. So it's like very efficient and streamlined. It's just like shopping, but you're donating.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you first were starting Sandee for Good, did you face any initial setbacks or challenges to get it off the ground?
Well, I wasn't an experienced entrepreneur or social entrepreneur when I started Sandee for Good. I was like a 15-year-old girl who just wanted to start something to help people. So it required a lot of learning from like and talking to a lot of people who are already in this field. I had to reach out to experienced social entrepreneurs in Thailand, and also entrepreneurs outside of Thailand, to just ask like, how do you actually start something, so it required me to like step out of my comfort zone from like just being like talking to my friends a lot, just my family, to like going out and reaching out to like people I don't know, and people who may look intimidated, but like in the end, like I learned to like start like learning anywhere with anyone I know. And I think it's also an important thing even until now, like, and until forever, I guess. So
and you also do some COVID relief work, so talk to me a little bit about how the pandemic has affected Thailand.
So I come from the Phuket Island. It's kind of touristy, and also all over Thailand, not only Phuket, there's COVID, as well as everywhere in the world. So during the COVID situation, our organization realized that in hospitals there are medical staff that need to like eat from the same plate as like patients, and like other medical staff that like work with COVID patients. So we were thinking, how can we reduce that risk of like possibly getting infected by COVID through like food containers. And so we decided to partner with this single-use but eco-friendly food container company that produces food containers from biodegradable materials such as there's this Thai plant, a sugar cane, from like sugar cane plant, and they produce single-use materials that are biodegradable, and so we wanted to produce lots of those for medical staff all over Thailand. So we started a campaign and like a crowdfunding project where people can crowdfund so that we can send these single-use food containers to hospitals in Thailand.
Yeah. I think that's very interesting because like a lot of times here we are mainly focusing on, you know, getting masks and other stuff, but I never really knew that, you know, like eating from the same plate as well could cause like cross-contamination or further the spread, and it's not necessarily safe. So that's really interesting how you guys are focusing on doing a biodegradable place these medical professionals can eat from. Yeah. So focusing a little bit more on your entrepreneurship, kind of tell me about how you got your interest in entrepreneurship.
So when I was like in grade 8, I it was the time when like I didn't really know that like, you know, children could, you know, start businesses and like do entrepreneurship, but like I wanted to, you know, learn something new. So I went on Google and I searched up like, you know, programs for like high school students to do across LaunchX, which is an entrepreneurship program for high school students like all over the world. And it offers a chance for high school students to start like entrepreneurship clubs in their schools while also learning and also like teaching entrepreneurship to other kids, right? So I decided that I wanted to, you know, just pursue something new and just learn something. So I decided to, you know, apply as LaunchX Club president for my school. And that's where it all started. I started learning entrepreneurship because I needed to teach it to my club members. Yeah. So like in that learning process, I was like, oh my God, like, oh my gosh, entrepreneurship it's actually accessible. Like we can actually do it, you know? And my team and I, so apart from also being club president, I was also in a team that pitched at the LaunchX Asia Regional Demo Day. And so my team and I started a vertical farming startup for hotels in our area, like that hotels that need like farm to table guest experience, you know. So we started that, and then we pitched at the LaunchX Asia Regional Demo Day, and we became global finalists, and and then we went to pitch at MIT. So many interesting people, like adults who believe in children, adults who come to listen to the pitches because they honestly think that our ideas are worth listening to, and also other young entrepreneurs who are so inspiring, and they're doing such amazing things, and like just by like, you know, being around all these people kind of helped me realize like that we can actually, you know, create change and do something with entrepreneurship, and that it's like it could be like a part of everyone's lives as well. So that's why I got really interested into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and I guess another thing that you mentioned was like a lot of people actually support young people's ideas and their ideas for entrepreneurship. And I feel like sometimes young people themselves might be hesitant and think like, oh, I'm not old enough, I don't know to start an organization. So I guess, do you have any advice for them, or like, I guess why should we like motivate more young people to be more engaged in entrepreneurship?
I think there's no limit to what is young and what is old. And I feel like you know, this world is everyone's world, and like we have the ability to see what's going on, and you know, I feel like if everyone saw that they could do this, then it would be a wonderful world. It would be you know, like, I just want everyone to know that, like, if we don't start, then our learning doesn't start too.
Right. Exactly.
So, the moment we start is the moment our experience begins. So it doesn't really matter what age we start, you know? So I feel like, just do it. Like, there's no, we don't have to be scared of, like, failing. Without failing, we don't learn. I believe that everyone has heard this phrase before, but it's true. I think the key is just go for it. And, you know, I watched this YouTube video of this 100-year-old guy.
Right.
He said, you know, I never really fail, because if I make a cake and it doesn't work,
I watched it.
it becomes a pudding.
Pudding, yeah.
I love him
He was so cute.
I know. Yeah, and like, yeah, it stuck to me, you know? So yeah. It's great.
Yeah. I guess another thing is people are so, like, building off the idea of failure, like, people are so afraid of failure, and I think part of the reason is people are hesitant to share, I guess, like, industry professionals and stuff, they're hesitant to share, like, how they failed and how they overcame it and that led to their success. So talk to me a little bit about, I guess, some of your initial failures or setbacks, whether it can be in entrepreneurship or anything else.
I mean, I didn't really see things as, like, a failure, so it's hard for me to, like, identify it. But I feel like there are moments where I think an idea is legit, or an idea will work, but then when I test it out, it doesn't.
Right.
And then I just, like, you know, I just think of another direction, you know.
Right.
So let's go back to Cato Plants.
Okay.
Our vertical farming startup. So, you know, I started it thinking that we're gonna make, like, a prototype for vertical farming, but and we thought, like, everyone was gonna, like, love it. Everyone's gonna be so interested. But then we talked to a lot of people, and they're like, yeah, it's cool, but, like, what's the benefit? And that's the moment when we saw, oh yeah, we can't just make something that we think is cool, but then, like, other people, like, the important thing is to talk to other people as well. And from talking to them, and talking to more people, I realized that, oh, there's a unique group of individuals and organizations that actually are interested in vertical farming, but not specifically the model, like, not specifically the system that creates it. But what they mentioned was that they want to do it, but they don't have enough people to maintain the whole system at their hotel. So that's where we pivot again. And we were like, oh, hey, so, like, the pain point is not to get the system, but the pain point is to have people who can run it. So that's where we started getting in, talking to farmers who are experienced in hydroponics, and, you know, connecting them to the hotels, and also putting up the systems at the hotels. So this way we provide jobs to farmers, and also a means for hotels to provide a farm-to-table guest experience for their guests. So that's, I think that's, like, I think that was a moment of realization that, oh, our idea might need a turn. You know? But I wouldn't, like, I could say it's a failure, but I see it more as, like, a pivot, and, like, just being flexible with, like, your ideas and what is actually needed out there.
Yeah. And I guess another, like, fear for people who want to be entrepreneurs is, like, where to begin, because there are so many things to consider when you're starting an organization. So I guess once you have an idea of, this is what I want to do, this is the impact I want to make, what should be your next steps in order to make that a reality?
So next step, test if it's actually a problem that needs to be solved.
Okay.
And to know that that is real is by going out to the people that you want to help.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just go out to talk to them. But remember to be open-minded. Don't go in with like fixed questions with like, you know, fixed answers, because that will lead to the way you want it to lead, right?
Right.
But the important thing is to ask them open-ended questions, so you get even more insight to the lives of the people that you're trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, you might, you know, realize a bigger problem that you can't solve, and you might be able to solve it,
right,
and go that way instead, but you're still helping the same group of people that you wanted to.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because I feel like sometimes we go under assumptions about our ideas, like, oh, this idea will address this directly, but the situation in reality might be a lot more different. So definitely agree that you should definitely talk to the people that are directly impacted by the problem you're trying to solve.
Mm-hmm.
And something else that I imagine is really important in entrepreneurship is collaboration and teamwork. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like super important. Like without a team, you know, you're doing it on your own, and but like a team is very important. You know, everyone needs a team to discuss ideas with, and like build onto whatever idea you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do both Cato Plants and Sandee for Good. I've worked with like two different groups of people. So Cato Plants would be like my classmates, people my age, and Sandee for Good would be you know, they're like 20 plus years old, and
Right.
they have their jobs and are successful. So I think when dealing with people, no matter who they are, the most important, the key factor is to listen to your teammates,
Right.
and always be understanding of where their perspective is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important, because in a team you want everyone to know that they have a say, and that their ideas are important, because they are, right? Because you want people to continue you know, giving constructive criticism to whatever we're doing. We want people to continue giving their ideas, give their own perspectives, and we don't want people to stop doing that from like the way we speak to them or something. So I feel like the key is just to show everyone that we listen to them, and that we value their opinion.
Right.
And that will work with anyone, no matter what age.
Yeah. I guess another really cool thing is that you participated in a show related to entrepreneurship, I think a few years ago. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me a little bit about that, because I just thought it was the coolest thing ever.
So it's like Shark Tank and The Voice like combined, but for social entrepreneurship.
Wow.
So the people are like, and I think there are like over 1,000 people, like contestants, like from all over Thailand. And they have like each one of them is like a social entrepreneur, and they have like their own ideas of like, you know, social businesses that they want to pursue, and like, so it's split up into like 3 different stages. So stage 1, we pitch, and then like you know, our mentors like turn around, you know, like The Voice, if they like the idea. If they like the idea, and they just like, you know, choose us or something. And and then the second round is like market test. So we have to show that our business has traction. So we have to like have our first like MVP or prototype, whatever, launch out in the market first, and then we need to show traction. And then like lastly, the third stage would be like, we had to show them that like we were ready to like, you know, launch, like fully launch. And so I got into the last round, and I got the Creative Innovation Award from them, which was like the whole program had 2 awards, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The winner and then an innovation award.
Mm-hmm.
So like throughout that whole process, it was really it was like such a learning experience for me, because I got to work with mentors who are experts in the social business field, and because I was an e-commerce platform, I got to work with the one of Thailand's like most well-known e-commerce business person,
Wow.
and he started the first e-commerce platform in Thailand, I think. So so through that, and through also interacting with older and more experienced social entrepreneurs, it really, you know, widened my perspective on like what is, like, you know, what is out there in such a small country. And
Right.
Thailand is a small country, you know, and I couldn't help but imagine like there would be so much more going on in the rest of the world, that like it got me so interested. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I continued to work and meet more people until now.
Yeah. And I think this is a question that I ask every social entrepreneur. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think is more important for entrepreneurship, innovation or implementation?
I think that implementation
Mm-hmm.
is more important,
Mm-hmm.
because we want whatever our product is to be used and to be effectively used in the community or the people that we are trying to help.
Yeah.
Innovation is a direction that we might use, but in every problem that we are trying to solve, we can think of so many solutions, right? But
Right.
like in order for it to be fully implemented and actually help these people, we have to choose the solution that will be the most effective.
Right.
So it could be through innovation, or it could be through you know, like just like a community, like starting a community or something.
Right.
There's so many ways to approach a problem, but so the main thing is which way will prove the best and help the most people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That makes sense. And I guess shifting more towards your personal experiences. So I think you're such an accomplished individual, but like how do you define success and like what is your approach to it?
I think it's important to have like goals in whatever you do, so you
Mm-hmm.
set milestones for yourself and keep yourself intact. But for me, we're waking up every day, I feel like success for me is knowing that I I'm happy
Mm-hmm.
with whatever I'm doing, and that I have challenged myself further every day,
Right.
and that so I feel like um, I want that to be my definition of success,
Mm-hmm.
because it's really hard to to be content with like if you have such a um high goal, and then
Right.
you set that as your success, but I'm not saying you're not going to reach it, but like I mean, if that is the only thing that keeps us going and keeps us happy, um I feel like I want another definition of success. And
Right.
for me, success would be to know that I'm trying my best every day,
Mm-hmm.
and know that I'm happy with the people that I surround myself with, and
Right.
that in itself will lead me to the ultimate or the bigger success that we all might want
Yeah.
um, in the end. Yeah.
I think that's a really good point because I feel like it's very difficult not to, but we base success on the perception of others and I guess the expectations of society. And that's always like so subjective. So I feel like
Yeah.
there's a sense of unhappiness or unfulfillment when we keep basing ourselves on that. And I think you bring a really good point of trying to make small, tangible goals so that you can constantly have a sense of achievement, but it all contributes to like a bigger goal, which is, I guess, your life's purpose in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So another thing is, like, I feel like our generation experiences a lot of pressure, like from pursuing our passions, and we're also in school and we have our social life. So I guess, how do you manage or balance your life? And did you struggle with that anytime?
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely faced a problem, a year ago when I started Sandee for good. I went to school like 2 or 3 days a week, and I rarely got to see my friends, and I was worried, like, how am I going to maintain my friendships?
Right.
But in the end, I was so lucky that my friends are so supportive, and they're my friends no matter what, and
Right.
I was so lucky to have them. So I learned that, like, surround yourself with like people who love you,
Right.
and they will know that, like, and they will support what you're trying to do. So no matter what, they're still gonna be there for you. So I feel like for teen change makers out there, teen entrepreneurs out there trying to hustle, trying to like make a change, like, I mean, go do you, but also make sure that the people that you are with make you happy, and
Right.
you don't need a lot of friends. You need friends who understand you, and then friends who love and support you. So
Yeah.
that will always keep you happy. And yeah, maintain your personal relationships. Make sure that you're happy. If you need downtime, get your downtime. Like, nobody's stopping you from that. You
Right.
want to go on Netflix, go on Netflix. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Right.
just do what you want to do, and that way you will have enough energy to go out there and change the world once you yourself are fulfilled.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess, winding down on this conversation, what
Mm-hmm.
do you think are important qualities of a leader, and how do you think you build such skills?
Mm-hmm. I feel like the most important thing to part of being a leader is being um, understanding and empathetic of the
Right.
people that you're working with. As I said earlier, you genuinely have to know that everyone's perspective matters,
Mm-hmm.
and you want everyone to feel comfortable to
Right.
share their opinions, and set a positive, progressive, like, learning environment within your community, and that can be achieved by just, like, telling jokes sometimes, all the time actually,
Right.
keeping a good mood around your workplace, making sure that everyone's enjoying their time,
Right.
because when everyone's enjoying, the creative ideas will emerge,
Right.
the environment will be positive, and the work will like flow so fluently. So I feel like the most important is happiness in your team,
Right.
and that can be achieved by showing everyone that their opinions really are important, and that they matter. And I think to achieve that is by working with yourself, building, like, reflecting with who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and reflecting with what you've been doing, and just changing bits and pieces, like, as you go.
Right.
um, Not like comparing yourself to other leaders, or um, thinking that you could be better, but I feel like just know that you are, trying your best to improve every day, so
Mm-hmm.
that you create like a fun and positive environment for your coworkers.
Yeah.
That would be important.
Yeah. And I guess my last question is, what's next for you? What are your future aspirations?
Hmm. So in like in the future, I hope that I will be able to continue, staying connected with communities I am surrounded with, and staying connected to issues going on in the world,
Right.
and always being informed of everything that's going on, and trying my best to come up with solutions or give ideas that could help improve like situations that are going on. That will definitely be with me no matter what job I take in the future.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hope that I will be pursuing something along with engineering and social entrepreneurship, so I could innovate solutions that could be implemented into society one day, and so I could also meet other amazing people who are doing the same thing, going for the same goal. So
Yeah.
I think that's what I will be working towards, and talking to amazing people like you, keeping in
Oh,
touch.
well, thank you so much for being on
Mhm.
the show, Irawadee. I really appreciated having you here.
Thank you so much. As I said, it's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me.